Welcome to Sacrifice 2021, ladies and gentlemen. What did I say? What did I say? You got exactly what I predicted. Now, before I get to the main event of this Impact Plus show, I got to make it very clear about a certain amount of things in this show that I will be talking about. I do believe if you have not seen it yet, you're going to have to deal with certain things you're not going to like. The major thing will be the camera work. The camera work was bad. Look at my face. I'm putting shots. I believe I got about 3 shots of how bad, or more, of how bad the camera work was. Shots of butt, shots of close-up shots, flat out. This was bad. If anyone knows anybody in Impact Wrestling, tell them, a small little YouTuber, and honestly, small, humble YouTuber is telling you, please, listen to him. I know you got years of experience, anyone who's working Impact, but I gotta say this to you. You currently have the majority of your fans at home. Why are you still shooting like there are people in the arena? Why do you have your cameramen work like there are people behind the barricades and they have no room to film? You have plenty of space to give open, wide shots. In this situation, you need it. You need open, wide shots so the people at home can honestly see what's going on in the ring. Because the camera work, if you didn't see some of the shots I put up already that were either in my face or in my shoulder, they were bad. You can't see what's going on in the ring most of the time. And it's not because the guys and girls in the ring were too fast for your cameramen to see. The only thing they need to do is take steps back, or better yet, get behind a barricade on the sides they're at and just shoot from there. Yes, there are points where they need to go in close. But in this situation, you could have at least one cameraman behind the barricade, and you could have another one that's in front of the ring. It is terrible, shabby work. You look like MLW. And they got bad camera work worse than anybody. I'm telling you right now. That's what I need to say. Now, opening. Reno Scum versus Decay. Now, this was a preempted thing that was done this Impact. It really doesn't mean much. It was an opening match. It does try to make things good for Decay. Black Tyru, look, he is dominant. And pretty much destroyed Luster the Legend and Thornstone. He destroyed them. And they win. No problem. It looks good for Decay. Not great for Reno Scum. They're basically jobbers. I'd rather see them actually be pushed because they've been around for a long time. They're not bad characters. Why not do something with them? But that's just me. You guys tell me below. Now, the match that really didn't make much sense. Why? What does it really give? Will it give us something going into Impact this Tuesday? I don't think so. We got Havea and Havoc versus Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K. This tag team person's match makes no sense. That's what they would call it. This tag match makes no sense. You know why? It wasn't the ring work. Caleb did alright. Tennille did alright. You got basically Havea and Havoc doing fine. It's about when it was over. What does this actually do for Havoc and Havea? Because this is supposed to do something for them. You don't see Havea getting so angry she shoves off Havoc. They just stay as they are. And it feels empty. It doesn't make any sense. You have Havea leave for a week or so, come back, and nothing changed. Now, either you're going to have to turn her heel or just make them into jobbers. Since they're the most dominant, most strongest of all the knockouts, it'll make them look stupid, but guess what? Who cares? Because they're pretty much not doing anything with them. I just do not agree that you're teasing Havea leaving Havoc and maybe turning heel out of frustration and do nothing. That's just me, guys, something below. The match that needed a stipulation. Violence by Design. Deaner, Dorling, and having Eric Young at ringside with Storm and Sabin and Jake somebody at ringside. This needed a stipulation. It needed one. Something to... It needed a stipulation, to be honest. It needed something. And you didn't get it here. Yes, at the end of the match, and it wasn't a bad match. Dorling looked dominant. He destroyed everybody. But having Rhino come back, and I'm sure not everyone's going to be happy because you can say, oh no, not another old-timer back and you're just spotlighting him. That's not the thing here. If you don't have a major storyline for these guys, then you need to do stipulation matches to give Violence by Design a niche. In this situation, Violence by Design is violence. Give them stipulations where they will be important. Make them be dominant in any stipulation match they go to. That's the best thing you do if you don't have a story for them. And there is no stipulation match, which is a straight up match. You now have Rhino there, which was interesting, but still it needed something. Now, here's a match that needed a story. Because if the story of Violence by Design is Deaner dealing with Jake somebody, it needed a stipulation. They needed this story. Hold harmless match of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers needs a story, not a stipulation. What Hernandez coming out, Matt Cardona coming out near the end of the match, which was a good match for what it was. What was the point? It didn't mean anything. They went out there. First Hernandez goes out there. Then Cardona goes out there. They fight one another. They disappear. And then in the end, you got Eddie winning, which means nothing. They need a story. They're doing nothing with this. What is the motivation for Brian Myers? He's saying, well, my friend follows me everywhere and messes with me. I am the most professional wrestler. I'm being screwed here. But what is this? Where is it going? What does Brian Myers get out of it? Hell, what does Matt Cardona get out of it? And if you want to be honest, what is Eddie Edwards doing? I don't get it. He's just acting hardcore, which doesn't lead him anywhere. He's floating. But this is just me, guys, something below. The match that makes no damn sense. Hood Rats of Hogan and Steels versus... Look, you've had Fire and Flavor. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz hold those titles for a while now. Not very long, but a while. And what have they done with them? Nothing. They've had no meaningful storylines. And then Impact Management has seen fit to not bring in any female wrestlers to let them be fed them. Calm down. Fire and Flavor need to be fed new tag teams. They needed some indie women to come in, job for them, so it feel like the division isn't so small. We didn't get that. We've been using the same women over and over again. This is mismanagement by the management of Impact Wrestling and the creative team. They're not thinking. Now, I'm sure someone's going to say, dude, you don't understand. They probably can't pay for the women or they can't get them. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Be honest, they can. This chance counts on if they're willing to do it. This match made no sense. It would have been better to drop the titles and let them chase them. It will be a change-up since there's so few women in the division. For the tag teams, you need to just let Fire and Flavor, the Hood Rats as I call them, drop the damn titles to Jordynne Grace and Jazz and just let them hold it for a little while and then let them chase after it along with Kimberly and Susan. It would have been easier that way. It should have been that way, but guess what? They retain, which really doesn't give them anything unless more women are coming in, which they should have been women already. This is what you got. Was it a bad match? No. And I know some people are going to say, well, they're not very good together. Look, not all the time they're going to match up, particularly the same women doing the same things over and over again. I don't blame Jazz. I don't blame Jordan. I don't blame Tasha. And I definitely don't blame Kira. I blame the creative team not being able to book. And if you can't see that, I can't help you here. Because you're just going to keep saying, hey, you need to get real new talent. Well, guess what? New talent coming in, they're going to have the same shit. They need proper booking. There you go. Now, the second best match of the night, which unfortunately, kind of like what happened with the women's tag match, was almost unwatchable. Almost. And that's Ace Austin versus TJP and Madman Fulton at ringside, which he did not interfere. He stayed out of the way. It was hard watching the match due to the fact of the bad camera work. It was very hard. Whoever was running the production truck, I don't understand why they made them zoom in so much to these guys when they're so fast you can't watch it. And when they're still, worse yet, they zoom in like this. It's wrong. You got the majority of your fans home. They want to see the action. How can they actually think their production value is good when you can't even see the ring? It's just sad. I missed most of their match due to the fact the camera work was so bad, whoever was running the switching of the cameras, you couldn't see most of it. Now, TJP finally dropped it to Ace Austin. Now, here's the thing. Having TJP drop that is not a bad thing, but it doesn't mean it's a good thing either. Because the division is so weak. Look, how many people you actually got in the division? Not that many. We're going to still see the same people. And there's no stories to go with these people that make them interesting. Look, you're going to have Trey and Sami Callihan working against one another. You will have TJP trying to regain his title. You're going to have Raju trying to go after it as well. But who else do you have? Johnny Swinger? Chris Sabin? No. He's working with Storm. Unless you're going to have James Storm and Chris Sabin try and do that when they're not doing tag teams. There's no one left in the I'm getting X-Division tag teams mixed up. But it's understandable because there's so few people on the roster that we see. They could have 50 people in the back, and they're not showing them all. I'm sorry. If you got enough people, show them. If you don't have enough people, write for these people right now. Give us more than one storyline for the X-Division so at least we won't be bored with what few we got. You got to distract us. Right. Please, creative team. Let's move on. I got to get this done. I don't understand why they're doing this. I got to be honest here. I don't understand why they let Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a Cape go into Swingers Palace. Piss off. And Alicia Edwards. Piss her off. Because she can't stand looking at Tennille because she felt like she was insulted. And then both of them won a match against one another. Fine. You could have left it at that. But having Scott, they go into the office of Scott. They're telling Scott they won a match. And then he wants to set up this Tuesday the most stupidest match you can have. A 12 knockouts tag match. That 100% shows how bad the division is for the knockouts tag team division and the knockouts division. It's stupid for showing you all 12 women in the ring at the same damn time. Why would you do that? Unless you're going to have a surprise guest come out. You're going to show almost every woman you got. And that's stupid. Stupid. Why? That's just me. You guys tell me below. Now, ODB versus Dana Purrazzo. Now, I'm sure there's going to be guys, there are going to be people that say, ODB is so bad in the ring, she's shit. Look, ODB has her own style. There have been people who like ODB. There are people who don't like ODB. It's always been her character that's gotten over more than anything else. It's always been her bam titties. And here they are in my face. And I think I got another shot of those big ass titties. Wonder if they're real or not. Maybe they are. It doesn't make a difference if you like her or if you don't like her. She's here. And the key of this entire situation that you must understand. Of course, you can disagree, and I want you to voice your opinion. But listen to my words and consider what I'm saying. ODB is not the issue here. It's not about bringing an older talent in. What have I been saying for months and years? It's not about the talent. It's about creative. You can do something with ODB. Now look, ODB did not win here. She jobbed for Dana Purrazzo, which was the wisest thing to do. She had to job for her. It would be wrong if ODB had won the title. It would have been flat out wrong if she had won. But the key of this is now what for Dana Purrazzo? Now what for ODB? What now for the knockouts division when there's almost no knockouts division? You got almost everyone in the tag division, almost everyone in the knockouts division, and neither one is being spotlighted properly. This is what you got the problem with. Not ODB, not Jazz. It's the booking. Because they can book these women properly, and even with only 12 women on, or 13 women on the roster, they could make it interesting. And they're not. Look what I'm saying with Havoc and Nevaeh. What is going on there? There's nothing going on. They could book for these women and they're not doing it. They can make compelling stories even with a small roster. And what are they doing? Zero. Now, the match I was surprised about and wondering what the implications are. Good Brothers versus Finjuice for the tag titles. I'm of two minds here. It is good they finally dropped the titles to someone else because the Good Brothers have been holding it for a while. But then, what does this mean for someone? They're supposed to be working with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I believe they already signed here in Impact. So they're saying they're from New Japan when they're signed to Impact. I don't understand what this is actually mean that's going to be helping Impact if they keep saying they're signed to New Japan when they're not. Now, if they are, then this is about the Young Bucks going against Finjuice on their pay-per-view instead of having the Good Brothers go up against the Bucks at their pay-per-view. That's if that's what it is. Because they still want to face the best team from Impact. And if that's Finjuice, then Finjuice is going to be the one that's going to deal with them instead of the Good Brothers. Now also, with the Good Brothers now dropped with the titles, they lost the titles, does that mean they can still go to AEW? My guess is they still will, but then what does that mean? Does that mean they're going to try and go after the tag titles of AEW? Doubt it. But it's got to be something. There's something missing in this equation. I am of two minds. They have them drop the titles to either two guys from a rival company or two guys that are actually with the company and they're trying to set up something on the AEW pay-per-view because I don't think this is going to be for Rebellion. I think this is going to be for AEW's pay-per-view where they're going to actually spotlight the tag titles there. That's what I'm thinking. You guys tell me below. Finally, the end of the show. What did I say? What did I say? It had to happen, and it has happened. Unification match of the Impact World title and the TNA World Heavyweight title. Moose versus Rich. Whoever wins goes to Rebellion and faces a Kenny Omega to either claim the AEW title or to lose the unified, don't know what they're going to call it. Maybe Impact Unified Championship or the Unified Championship. I don't know. Find out soon enough. Was this a good match? Yes. It was the best match of the night because it had the best story. TJP and Ace Austin had a good match. It was the second best match of the night because not of its story, but of its ring work. So, this really helped Moose to show his character. You can see the frustration of Moose. You could see that Moose was being pushed. How many times did he get hit into the ring rope? No, the turnbuckle. 3 times he got his head hit into the turnbuckle. He got bit twice by Rich. And he basically whacked his shoulder 4 times into the turnbuckle before he, at one point, Moose gets a chair. He's so frustrated because he can't just wipe out Rich. He jams it in between the second and third turnbuckle. And it's left there by the ref. Don't know why. Why did he leave it in there? It makes no sense. Well, eventually, Moose's shoulder goes into it. They wanted to show that Moose was the toughest son of a bitch you got. Nothing stopped him. He was willing to go anywhere and do whatever it takes to win, and he is that dominant. But in the end, Rich's heart won out, and he won the titles with a roll-up after Moose whacked his shoulder into that turnbuckle with the chair and whacked to his head as well. That was it. And Rich Swann is now the Impact unification champion. Or title holder, whatever you're going to call it. I don't remember. Now, what does this mean? Simple. Rich is going to Rebellion, and he will be facing Kenny Omega at the end of the pay-per-view there. And if everything goes well, because it must go well, Kenny Omega must win. And I'm saying this now because I don't do predictions in these videos because, I mean, before the pay-per-views come out, because it always, I don't like it. It's not fun. But I can state this that I really do believe must happen. Rich Swann must drop it to Kenny. Kenny takes it on to TNT television and he spotlights it. And he sponsors it. And he comes back to Impact Wrestling and shits all over the company at everyone there. And Rich tries to get the title back and he loses because the Good Brothers help him. And it's up to Moose, Mr. Impact himself, to get that title back either at Slammiversary or if they drag this out long enough, Bound for Glory. That would be the wisest thing to do. Drag this to Slammiversary and then let Moose try to get the title back and get it back. Now, if you really want to make this really important, if Impact can swing it, let that happen on pretty much an AEW pay-per-view with a different set of eyes. And that would truly help Impact and give AEW something different to work with. But that's just me thinking about this. But you guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.